guys, it's Jackie here and welcome back to my channel. This is the first bookish video that I am doing since I started doing YouTube videos again. So I'm really excited about it. I know my lights are at a weird spot. I'm still trying to figure out where I want things to go. I have a whole bunch of sets of like fairy lights and string lights, and my house is a disaster. Nothing is set up. My lights are like strung across the door for some ambience in this video, and then eventually when I get all set up and figure out where I'm actually gonna make videos, I will have lights in places that make more sense. So in today's video I actually want to talk about what items I've recently bought from thriftbooks. If you don't know, thriftbooks is a huge online thrift store for books. You can buy anything you're looking for. You can buy books new on there, but it really shines when you're looking for used books. Now it has a really cheap flat rate shipping, both to the US and Canada. They have different categories of quality of books. So there's like, when you're looking at used book, there's different levels, like it'll say like new, good, and then I can't remember what the lowest one is. I think it's acceptable. And so the less the quality, the less you'll pay for the book. Everything is really cheap, and obviously it'll make you feel good to buy used things rather than going out and buying things new. So I'm gonna open up my packages from there, and then I'm also going to just talk about what books I've currently hauled from the library, which ones I've got sitting here with me right now. And I'll just talk about each of those, and you guys can see if any of the books I have at my house right now from the library pique your interest. I don't tend to buy new books if I've never read them, if they don't fall into the category of things I collect. And I would love to show you guys what I all have in my collection, but a lot of it is still in storage. Soon I will have it here, but until then we'll just work with what we have. So I think I'll start off with which books I brought home from the library. I'm currently reading Otherworldly Azakaya Nobu. So this is like a fantasy manga series. It's got lots of classic fantasy elements in it, which is like my favorite when it comes to reading manga. So it's about this like magical restaurant, and the nearby army kind of hits up this restaurant and realizes that they've got like the best food and best ale of all time. And so each chapter is like a different customer from a different background, and it like quickly goes over their background so you get to know about them, and then their experience with the restaurant and how the food and the service changes their life there. My tater tots are ready. I don't know if you can hear my timer. I will be back. I am almost halfway done reading this. Taking my time with it, but for some reason lately when I read manga, it's always got like the classic European fantasy elements, and it involves food, so I'm always starving afterwards. And then next up, I've got the Empire of Gold, which is, I believe, the final book and the third book to the City of Brass trilogy. This is big. It's definitely heftier than the other two books, and I've just recently finished those. And the thing that I find with the City of Brass trilogy is that like the beginning is insane. Like of both first two books, the beginning is like incredibly engaging. And then towards the middle of the book, it gets like, both of them I found almost dull. Like I was making myself, like setting myself a certain amount of pages I wanted to read each day just to get through it. And then at the end of the book, something absolutely insane would happen so that I would have to pick up the next book. So right now I've definitely got some mixed feelings about the first two books, but the ending of Kingdom of Copper, so the second book, made me really excited to pick up the Empire of Gold. So this actually came out last month, so I think probably a lot of people have already got to it. I've magically avoided spoilers. This is the book out of my pile here that I'll be getting to first, besides Otherworldly Azakaya Nobu. I'm gonna keep going with that too, because I usually have a manga and a traditional novel on the go at the same time. Next up, I've got a graphic novel. It's called Witchlight. I don't know anything about this, so I'm just gonna read the back to you so that you have an idea what it is about, in case you're like me and you haven't read it. It says, Lelik is a witch. That's all Sanya knows when she meets her in the marketplace. But Lelik is hiding secrets, and as her life begins to intersect with Sanya's, all that she's hiding starts to come to light. Secrets, emotions, and magic come closer together as Lelik gets closer and closer to uncovering the truth about her past. So I love fantasy graphic novels. That's like one of my favorites. So the illustrations look pretty cute. I just love the colors. So I'm excited to hear about Sonia and Lilac. I don't know anything about them, but it sounds like it's mysterious and it's got some secrets and it's got some cute illustrations. So that's really all I need to get going with this. So the next graphic novel that I have here is called Go With The Flow by Lily Williams and Karen Schneeman. So this is about a group of sophomore high school girls. Basically, it talks about their struggles through high school when it comes to menstruation, struggles they face with their peers. So basically, they decide they want to go on a menstruation revolution. So I'm assuming that means that they're trying to like get rid of the stigma that is around talking about periods. And then apparently there's going to be some friendship struggle when one of the friends kind of decides she doesn't want to stick with the plan. So I'm assuming this explores friendship, coming of age, high school, all of that good stuff. This is not normally the type of graphic novel I would read, but I like friendship stories, and I think menstruation is something that should be more normalized to chat about. I think life could be easier on teenage girls. I certainly do think that. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be getting to this soon. So next up, I've got Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. So this is the first book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy. I have not read any of Robin Hobb's novels, but basically they're epic fantasy novels. This one is like the mass market paperback, which holding this makes me just miss when I read A Song of Ice and Fire for like 16 hours in a day, and it was just like this with like the tiny uncomfortable font. I miss it so much. I also love the cover of this edition of Ship of Magic. I've definitely seen more aesthetically pleasing versions of this cover, but this one, you know, just that classic pirate cover, I just love it. I think that's why I have this here, because I know I ordered it like quite a while ago and it just showed up because of COVID. And then I've got Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, which is a part of the Farseer trilogy. So this, to the best of my knowledge, is the right series to start with when you're reading Robin Hobb's books. So basically, this book is about a character named Fitz. He's the bastard son of a noble, and then basically he's kind of an outcast in court, except for King Shrewd, who has trained him as an assassin, but secretly, as far as I understand what's going on. But this is the best that I understand. It's a classic fantasy series, which I like, and I think, as far as I understand, Fitz has some magical abilities. Of course, he's the one who's probably going to save the kingdom, because that's kind of how these books work. It also sounds like, in a way, it's a coming-of-age novel. I think that we watch Fitz as a young man in this book, and then as the series goes on, we watch him grow. As far as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong. I just love these mass market paperback covers. They're so ancient. Look at this. This must be him. He's a little boy there. So speaking of coming of age epic fantasy novels, next one that I have not read is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and I know I should have read this a long time ago. I know this is one of the most popular epic fantasy series of all time. I also love that this is the floppy paperback. This is my friend's like favorite book ever. He raves about it all the time. So I know I need to read it, and I know I'm gonna like it. Okay, so this is told by the main character, protagonist Voth. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, but told in his own voice. Basically, it's the story of his life, how he became the most notorious wizard that this world has ever seen. Apparently, it's just like action-packed, and you fall in love with characters. Apparently, the characters are really well developed. I've heard all the best things about this series, and I believe this is a trilogy. And I also believe only the second book has been published, as well as obviously this first book here. The second book is called The Wise Man's Fear, and as far as I know, the third book is not published yet, which is a dangerous spot to start. How often do you start a fantasy series with all kinds of world building and intricate plot lines and complicated characters, and the series just doesn't finish forever, and you just cry for years and years and years? I'm totally acquainted to this lifestyle. Plus, anything with like grumpy characters in epic fantasy novels, sword fighting and like rescuing princesses just gets me every time. So next up, I've got a nonfiction read. It's called Anxious for Nothing, Finding Calm in a Chaotic World by Max Lucado. This is just a nonfiction exploring stress and anxiety with sort of some instruction and guidance on how to manage it, live with it, and organize your thinking. I've actually read this before, and I just thought it was so valuable and so helpful that in these stressful times with COVID and work being weird and moving, I just thought that I could spend some time exploring this book again. And the other wonderful thing about this book is that you can kind of like pieces out of it. You don't necessarily need to read it front to back, I would say. You could kind of go chapter to chapter. It's organized into like these very obvious chapters there. So then it's quite easy to decide, you know, what you want to explore, whether there's a bookmark, and it's my bookmark. I got this from the library and I left my bookmark in here last time. And it's still here, which means nobody has read it since then and nobody took my bookmark out. That is so cool. Anyways, yeah, you go to the chapter, like this one's called Great Gratitudes. Obviously, it's foundational, so chapter by chapter builds up on the whole works, help you manage your thinking and your stress and your anxiety. Having said that, I still think you could just pick and choose chapters if you really wanted to. Okay, so next up we've got Foundryside, all kinds of epic fantasy today, by Robert Jackson Bennett. I'm sure that anyone watching this has probably heard of this book. It follows our main character, Sansia, and so basically she is sent to steal a very magical artifact which would revolutionize a magical technology called scribing, which as far as I understand it is like coding. It's like scribing are these coded commands to make any object sentient. So basically you can code using scribing to control anything. Like you can make, you know, like a lamp walk, that type of thing. Basically the world that they live in is controlled by these merchant houses. As far as I understand it, it's like sort of reminiscent of like historical Venice sort of thing. And so basically somebody is after Sansia. They want this magical artifact for themselves, which will help them to master the art of scribing. But apparently then there's friendship along the way. There's people who would fight alongside Sansia, like people who practice scribing illegally or in secret, as well as a wizard who has bartered his soul. And so basically, I guess she's got to work alongside these allies and unlock the abilities of this magic artifact that she's stolen. And apparently, it turns her into something she could have never imagined. But it's the first book in a fantasy series, which I've said probably 5 times already in this video, but it is what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna go eat my tater tots that are probably getting cold. Why do tater tots need to cook for so long on such high heat? Anyways, I don't get it, but I'm gonna go eat my tater tots because it's 8 o'clock and I haven't eaten yet. And then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna open some thrift books packages. Okay, so I've just got 2 thrift books packages here. I don't think I need scissors to open these. I think that the flap just opens easily enough. I'm actually out of breath doing that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's talk about what I got. So first off, I got The Romance of Tristan and Isolde, which is a classic chivalric romance dating from the 12th century. So this is a vintage classics edition. It says on the back, it's the first complete English edition translated, so that's pretty excellent. I love the cover of it. I can't wait to take photos of it for my Instagram. And so looking inside, I can tell that it's translated. And so yeah, this has been told in numerous variations since the 11th century. This is an edition of the first English edition. Basically a tragedy about the adulterous and forbidden romance between a Cornish knight and an Irish princess. And while different variations kind of differ from each other, in the details, the plot structure remains the same between all the different variations of the story that you find. There is a blockbuster film adaptation of the story, which I can't watch because apparently I find it too dramatic and I just like have to hit pause and walk away and I cannot finish it, which is weird because my favorite movies literally to watch are tragic medieval romances, but I just can't get through the movie. But I haven't read this book either, so hopefully I enjoy it. Wanted it to add to my classics and fairy tales, folk tales collection. I think it's a lovely edition. I think it was about $4, $4 Canadian on thrift books, and they do have flat rate Canadian shipping. And this is like an acceptable copy, so not great condition, but there's no stains. There's just tiny little scuffs you can see there. Pages are in great shape, no water damage. I don't think they would ever sell any books in water damage. I think the most they'll send is if it's missing a dust cover or it's got like little scuffs. Maybe like some really light stains they'll let go to. feel like it's just gonna complete my personal collection. Next up, I got The World of Pooh. This is missing a dust cover, but it's got a gorgeous map of the 100-acre wood inside here. I'll just show you. It's the complete Winnie the Pooh. As you can see, it's lovely. It's got little like stains on the pages, similar to Tristan and Isolde. It's got like little scuffs there. You can see, so I believe this one was acceptable too because it is missing its dust cover. It is a little bit scuffed. No ripped pages, no water damage, like I said. Great price. It's in great shape. No spine damage that I can see here. This is so nostalgic. I used to have Winnie the Pooh read to me when I was little. So yeah, I've also wanted to start collecting Winnie the Pooh selections to add to my classics collection as well. So I'm excited to have both of these. I recommend ordering from thrift books if you haven't. It's good to buy things secondhand. And like if you're looking for things that are out of print, hard to find, I really encourage you to check them out. I often never leave their site without being satisfied. If you're looking for a newer or popular release, there's a good chance there won't be a used copy, and you can choose to support them by buying a new copy off them. Or you can, you know, obviously buy a new copy off of where else you would normally would, but I just find that they really shine when you're looking for older editions of things too. Anything that you feel like is too expensive to buy, like new from Indigo or Amazon or wherever, or you can't buy there because it's out of print, all of those weird reasons when you're having trouble buying a book that you want, check them out. I've been ordering from them for years. I have never been let down, ever. I've got pretty much all of my classics from there, for reals. So yeah, thanks for watching my first bookish video at my return to YouTube. Subscribe for more bookish content. Let me know if you've ordered from thrift books. If you have, do you enjoy it? What was the last thing you grabbed from there? Or where do you tend to buy your books most of the time? I have so many questions for you guys, so just let me know. Yeah, I also make videos about random other things. I want to do some vlogs, so stay tuned. They're gonna be really dumb, but they'll probably be somewhat entertaining. All right, bye!